Well, folks, I kind of suspected we were going to have another mythical character in between Professor X and Annihilus. They did this with Odin before, and I think it was actually a really well-received sort of middle chase, middle step that we get halfway through the year. And if we remember Odin, it wasn't as arduous to unlock Odin as it was to unlock, say, Professor X or Mephisto before Professor X. So this is kind of exciting, and hopefully they will maintain that. But we're going to read this here, this blog. We're going to see what ISO 4 and 5 is going to be like, so that's pretty cool. And we'll kind of analyze the effects this is going to have. So let's jump right into it. Blue Marvel in the chase for purple ISO 4 and 5. The next hero. He's a beacon of power and forged of antimatter. Now he's joining the fight to save Nexus Earth. You know what? This is actually kind of interesting. He's the next hero. The Dark Dimension characters traditionally have always been, villains. We had Doom, Ultron, Super Skrull, Mephisto, Annihilus. And they kind of flipped it on its head when we got Odin, and then again Professor X. So they're going another hero route, which I think is cool. I think there's still a lot of villains for Marvel Strike Force to tap into, so hopefully they don't shy away from some of the big villains. We can get a Beyonder, we can maybe get Nightmare. There's a couple big names we could still get as far as villains go that they wouldn't feel super good coming in just as, side character B, like, say, Johnny Storm, Sue Storm, and Reed Richards feel. Franklin could have been like this, right? But anyway, let's continue on. Blue Marvel. I don't know much about Blue Marvel. I'm excited to read this, actually. Blue Marvel will not only be a powerful addition to your roster, but he ushers in a level 4 and 5 of purple ISO 8. Yeah, this is big. So, not only do they usher in a new level of purple ISO, not presumably, this will be the next level of overpower as well. So I'm excited kind of to see if they loosen up that Gear Tier 20 economy, because this could be another avenue where they kind of, place players in certain brackets based on spending. Though they've kind of said that they're not going to do anything more with overpower because of how, vitriolic the reception to it was, which I'm still a part of that group. Anyway, today we're meeting with a newest character discussing how you'll unlock him and getting the details of the next levels of Purple ISO. Let's dive in. Who is Blue Marvel? In the height of the Cold War, brilliant scientist Adam Brashear pushed beyond the limits of human knowledge. I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying to do this in one take. And was transformed by a reactor accident into the Blue Marvel, gaining superhuman strength, invulnerability, flight, and the power to manipulate antimatter itself. For years, he protected the world as a symbol of hope, only to be forced into obscurity when his identity as the black superhero challenged the prejudices of his era. After decades in the shadows, Blue Marvel returned stronger and wiser than ever, wielding antimatter energy to defend Earth and beyond from threats no other hero can withstand. Really cool. This word right here kind of freaking me out because we currently have antimatter, right? I didn't even realize it up here. I don't think Purple ISO 8, 4, and 5 should be in the antimatter store, because then people who have not been hoarding it are going to feel bad. They kind of said they don't love hoarding, but then if they reward it in such a way, we're going to see how it goes. I do think they tell us how we're going to be earning this Purple ISO 8, 4, and 5 down below, so we'll have to wait and see. Blue Marvel brings power to your roster. Blue Marvel brings his overwhelming cosmic strength and versatility to your roster in Marvel Strike Force. He's a true plug-and-play powerhouse. You'd hope so, right? He's going to be like a Dark Dimension character in the same vein as Odin, sliding seamlessly into almost any squad and instantly elevating their effectiveness. Whether you need extra damage, durability, or support, Blue Marvel has the tools to turn the tide of battle in your favor. We'll have a deep dive into Blue Marvel's abilities in an upcoming blog, so stay tuned. Target, Blue Marvel. Strike has pinpointed Blue Marvel's location within the multiverse and created an urgent mission to extract him and bring him to Nexus Earth. The mission is called Target Blue Marvel. The mission calls on warriors with specific capabilities, so you'll need to follow traits over 10 missions. So it sounds like a Dark Dimension, but they've renamed it, because calling things Dark Dimension, since Dormammu, right, doesn't really make much sense anymore. I think that's cool. Yeah, change it. Maybe this is just going to have the same sort of look as the Saga, but not act like the Saga. I do think, for what it's worth, I think the Saga UI structure feels better than the Dark Dimension structure, but in practice, it didn't tickle people's fancies very well. So I'm excited to see what they do here, because they're not calling it a Dark Dimension, but it seems like that's what it is. All right, we got trait requirements right away. Mission 1, no restrictions, Purple ISO level 4. Missions 2 and 3 are Conquerors, so that's going to be our Fantastic Four. Oh, that's awesome. That's the team you want to put it on, for sure. Fantastic Four, Insidious 6, Hellfire Club. Is that it? No, there's one more coming, right? There should be one more Conquerors team coming. So we're going to see all the options there, and that's 4 and 5. So it's not going to be a bunch of level 4 missions first. It's level 4 and 5. You cannot move on to the next node until you've completed that level 5. So interesting stuff there. I'm curious to see if ISO level 4 is going to be not super hard to get then, and ISO level 5 will be super hard to get, or if they'll even make those different resources. I say that because for Blue ISO 4 and Blue ISO 5 had different ions. So I assume they will here as well. So maybe they make level 4 pretty easy to achieve, level 5 very difficult to achieve. Could be the way they go. Then we got non-mythic cosmic. So say goodbye to Super Skrull, say goodbye to Odin, Mephisto, those kind of characters. Still got Null. We got non-mythic city after that. So say goodbye to nobody? Non-mythic global. Say goodbye to Professor X, Doom, Ultron. And then it's no straight restrictions for the last one as well. This is kind of interesting, right? Because you can do the first 3 nodes if you just go all in on Conqueror characters, which are so many good Conqueror characters. And then you could have carryover from those Conqueror characters into the other sections. For instance, the 3 Fantastic Four members I use the most are going to be, well, right now it's Reed for the current event, but not so much, right? Normally it's Franklin, Invisible Woman, and Johnny, because I kind of prefer them on the offensive side. Well, that'd be cosmic characters I could bring in, but hey, I really want to do Superior Spider-Man, and maybe I really want to do Hobgoblin, so they have that overpower advantage. Then they could slot into the city section, so that's pretty cool. And there's probably better characters for cosmic that I'd like to bring instead. Maybe an endgame Thanos, so he can overpower people with his big passive damage. We're going to definitely have to have a look at characters that are best suited for these ISO upgrades. We got to see the ISO upgrades first, obviously. And then global section. Now, when it says the no trait restrictions down here on node 10 or mission 10, because this is the last node, I really have to wonder how hard this is going to be. Because they can make this node incredibly hard. Like, we may not be able to utilize mythical characters for the Cosmic City or global sections, but maybe we're going to need them for mission 10, or it's going to take forever, right? Maybe you need Professor X. There's going to be a speed up on spawn. Every single character is going to have speed up on spawn or something absolutely ridiculous like that, right? So it's curious that this is the last node. Traditionally, the non-restriction nodes are nodes 1 and 2. So curious to see how that's going to play out. Probably a welcome change, though. Probably a welcome change, because, I mean, you don't have to bring any mythical characters. Maybe you can just suffer through this mission 10, which will be what any kind of early adopter does. Be on the lookout for more details as we approach the beginning of the event. Okay, so here's kind of the thing I'm more interested in. What is Purple ISO actually going to do? Not to be upstaged by the brilliant Adam Brashear, is pending arrival, Scientist Supreme cracked the chemical code on the latest in ISO 8 technology. Level 4 and Level 5 Purple ISO. The next stage in character customization continues the powerful ramp-up of power and abilities, giving you the flexibility to adapt a character to a team or game mode role. Okay, interesting. Review the details below and begin planning your characters possessing the above required traits are worthy of the next level ISO 8. We'll definitely take a look at those. We're not going to deep dive into it too much because I want to see how, how this income is going to be for these characters. Forging Purple Power. To reach the next tiers of Purple ISO 8, you'll need T3 level 4 and T3 level 5 ions. So they are separated. This is very, very important information. So level 4 and level 5 are going to have different types of ions, which means that they can kind of open up level 4 to not be too crazy. This is kind of what they did for Apocalypse, and then they can make level 5 very scarce. To upgrade your characters, here are the powerful bonuses your squad will gain when equipping Purple ISO 8 at level 4 and 5. Striker, level 4, 10% max health, focus armor resistance. This is kind of a standard stepping stone, and would also indicate this is probably going to be it for all of them. This would also indicate that this is something they're going to let people kind of get, I'm not going to say willy-nilly, but more frequently. Level 5 is 30% damage? Are you insane? So, okay. Oh my god. It's already 4% damage from the actual crystals you equip with ISO, right? I think it's 2% per upgrade you put into damage. So it's already 4% there. And then 30% if they're a striker at level 5. This has so many implications, because think about what Overpowered does. Overpowered is a 50% damage increase when you're punching down. So if you have Overpowered on somebody and you're using a striker character, now all of a sudden you're doing 80% increased damage. Put that in perspective, stage 1 of Crucible right now, that's the kind of damage. That's 100% is what he's hitting for extra. Absolutely insanity they went with that sort of number. It's going to have implications for bleed. Oh my god. That's bonkers. All right. Fortifier. Again, just go to the standard, and then level 5, 10% max barrier, 35% damage. So actually more damage for a fortifier than a striker. That's interesting too, because there's some comps where, let's put this into perspective, Black Panther Shuri and Black Knight. I want my Black Knight to have a higher damage stat than my Black Panther Shuri, but I kind of want Black Knight to be a fortifier too, and I want Black Panther Shuri to be either striker or raider or skirmisher, whatever the case may be, right? So giving the fortifier a really big, juicy damage stat will come into play with some of those roles. Also think of any sort of other crucible room that asks you to have a fortifier instead. This could be pretty impactful. Some of the fortifier, some of the tanks that I like as fortifiers also do pretty decent damage. I'm thinking about like the Gladiator, the Black Knight who we brought up, who's like a new fortifier to talk about. Oh, is Yo-Yo? No, Yo-Yo wants to be a raider. Anyway, that's a decent amount of damage. I think it's going to have some pretty big implications. Let's go healer next. All right, standard stuff, then 20% damage and additional armor. I like the idea of giving healer a little bit extra. I think I would have preferred to see some sort of active ability on turn for healers, like heal the most injured enemy by 10% of this character's max life. Something more, impactful. Of course, the healers, when they ult, they remove vulnerables. That's at purple level 3. Giving them another little boost to being a healer over being something else, I think would have been beneficial, because healer, even more so than fortifier, seems to be used the least. All right, skirmisher, level 4. 10% max health, yes. Ooh, 40% damage. Oh, that's great. I think immediately my mind goes to Old Man Logan. My mind goes to Odin. My mind goes to those characters that they have that assist feature, but we really want them to do more damage, and it always feels bad making them a skirmisher to get that triple tap. This will definitely make it feel better, especially for a character like Old Man Logan, where all of a sudden he's getting a lot of extra bleed damage from this 40%. I like that, and skirmisher is one of the most widely used and abused ISOs, I would say. So giving that a big lump sum of damage, I like. I do find it awkward that it is giving more damage than the striker is, and the striker isn't doing anything extra, though. That does feel pretty awkward, I would say. But also, hey, 40% damage plus an overpowered thing, that's crazy. Now, I do think striker already has sort of a percentage damage advantage over some of these ISOs, so it could also be that we're just sort of equalizing things along the base here. But you would hope that striker would actually still get more damage overall. So that's pretty interesting. All right, raider. The regular, and then we get 5% crit chance and 50% crit damage. So we're going to have a lot of crit chance here. And then we get the crit damage, and we're only getting 20% damage. But with this, it's huge, right? So I think of characters that I really like as raiders. Yo-Yo. When Yo-Yo's special is like hitting people multiple times, and she's getting multiple crits off, doing a lot of vulnerable stuff for me, also getting the damage there. This is like awesome. Yeah. Raider seems like it's probably my favorite upgrades that it's seen. And it is boring, right? It's just additional chance, additional damage. But that's probably my favorite ISO level 5 upgrade. Striker 30% will be nice for bleed. Skirmisher 40% is nice because when you don't really know what you want to put on a character, Skirmisher is always sort of a safe bet. All right, okay, here we go. We're almost done. First, level 4 and 5 purple ISO 8 opportunities. Leaderboards and special events are coming to deliver brand new purple ISO 8 levels straight into your hands. Yeah, not surprised about that whatsoever. Giving your roster an electrifying surge of power. Your first opportunity to earn new level 4 purple ions will be in the Superior ISO Evolution Leaderboard event. That's level 4 ions. Level 5 purple ions will be featured in a future event. Stay tuned to the weekly vlogs so you don't miss a single detail on how to claim this game-changing upgrade. So just to make sure I read that right, it's leaderboards and special events only, not in the antimatter store, which I think is a good thing. I do think they should add it to the next chapter, though. Add it to the next chapter store so people can start going crazy on that. I don't love this off rip. The idea that they are separating the level 4 Ions leaderboard and the level 5 Ions into a future event. I don't like that. I could be mistaken. I think when we were on the Apocalypse Chase for leaderboards, they both went hand in hand. And we had additional sources of blue level 4 Ions. I think it was maybe through raids at the time or something like that. So the fact that they're keeping them separate, it almost feels now like we're getting 2 separate new progression paths as opposed to one that just has different steps to it. And that doesn't feel great, especially because they've been kind of experimenting with this one leaderboard every single week. I would hope it doesn't lead to burnout. I guess that would lead to fighting off hoarding. So, because you wouldn't want to hoard just for level 5 ions, because you need the level 4 ions to even benefit from the level 5 ions. I don't know what the end goal is there, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't really like getting mad right out the gate, but it does rub me the wrong way that they're separated. Let me just go with that. Anyway, let's look at the characters. So we're going to start with the Conqueror characters. We got lots of great characters here. Of course, we talked about this. We got Hellfire, we got City 6, Fantastic Four, whatever the next team is going to be. And what's interesting, or what I found interesting here, is we have a City team, we have a Global team, and we have a Cosmic team. I think that's really cool, but I think Fantastic Four is the obvious first team to go for. Of course, Arena, so you don't want to be getting overpowered. If you're dying before your Professor X can win that coin flip or before your Havoc can go, that's not good. So Fantastic Four will probably be the first team that you bring up. I assume they're just going to handle that first node, and of course they're going to be able to mix it up in that Cosmic section because they are some of the best Cosmic characters in the game. I don't know how many of them I would bring. My gut says I'd probably bring the 4 of them and just not bring things. I'd probably go, Richards, Human Torch, Invisiwoman, Reed Richards. We got a Protector, because you got to think about the crystals here too, right? We got a Protector, we have a Brawler, we have a Blaster, and we have a Controller. So we got a nice little spread there, and if I wanted, what was the last one to support? I think Emma. Emma's a Controller. I don't know who else would be a support here. Is, you know what? Is Furious Spider-Man a support character? He might be. Oh boy, yeah, he is. So, lots of great options here. I don't think you're going to go wrong unless you do something stupid like you take Madeline. Or you take Shocker, right? Even taking Emma, I think would probably be a mistake. Like, yes, her kit is fantastic, but does she really need to have an overpowered either advantage or just like stalemate when it comes to other game modes? I would argue not, right? So unless she's like mandatory for the nodes themselves, I'd probably pass on that. One thing to keep in mind when we talk about this sort of chase as opposed to the gear tier chases is it doesn't really matter what origin trait they're... It doesn't matter at all what their origin trait is. It matters what their tag is, right? Brawler, Protector, Blaster, Support, Controller. And because we've kind of had so much time to build up a crystal economy... I mean, we haven't seen how much each new level is going to cost, but you might just be okay on crystals. Or over time, as we kind of get to that point, you might just get the crystals. So you may not even have to worry about what their particular origin, whatever that trait, it's not origin trait, it's whatever that tag is, right? You may not be the biggest concern if we kind of just have those crystals already. Because this is not the same as Odin when we started at 0 crystals. No, we got a bunch of crystals locked up now. Those are our Conqueror characters. Quickly take a look at the... Ooh, yeah, Blastar. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I love Crucible, and Blastar hits super hard. Of course, he's not the best legendary character ever gotten, because in his game mode, he gets absolutely just rolled by anti-speed bar. There's so much of that in a game mode with only 6 rooms. He doesn't feel the best, right? But okay, so let's say I was going to take the 4 Fantastic Four characters. Who would my 5th character be? Lots and lots of great options. I really like Havoc in the arena, so he could be interesting. I really like Kahori for... Oh, it'd be Null. It'd be Null. It's no longer conversation. Null is not a mythical character. It would just be Null. Shadow King would actually be pretty high up there. Endgame Thanos would be up there too. But I think I would still default down to Null. I think Null is such a underrated character, and when people start getting diamonds on him, it's gonna be scary. All right, City section. I wouldn't do the Insidious 6 team first for the unrestricted section, but I do think I would do them before I would do the Vigilante team or the Night Stalker team, because obviously these teams are going to fall out of the raid scene before Insidious 6 does. God, what else? Maybe the next raid tier will be asking us for some sort of purple ISO. Yeah, I definitely would not, even though I love the Vigilante team and I love the Night Stalker team, I would strongly suggest nobody races to put purple ISO on them. I would only equip the purple ISO as you get to the new section, and we got to keep an eye on what the future of raids is going to be. But Insidious 6, I think, is probably the no-brainer team. I'd probably end up doing Hobgoblin, Scorpion, Superior Spider-Man, might be might be part of my first characters for that non-restricted section. Vulture, I think he's a pretty safe forward. Like, Vulture has been in the meta for so long, and now they just got new stats. They probably just extended his life another 2.5, 3 years. I might not do Shocker, though. Look, I'm a big fan of Phantom Rider and the Secret Warrior team for war, but that's because I'm a big war fan, right? And I think Phantom Rider, he really likes to have that extra damage. He carries the entire team. He's dealing with some of the hardest hitting enemies. So he might be my fifth, and we just don't have Shocker built up to that crazy degree. I think the other characters kind of warrant it more. And for the global section, ooh, Yo-Yo is a sleeper OP character. Cannot do Apocalypse. A lot of these other characters are going to seem kind of outdated, right? Like, my eyes immediately dart over to Black Knight, to Captain Britain, to Dawkins. These are characters I absolutely love. I've had so much fun with them. But the old stats are catching up. Boy, are those old stats ever catching up in a really big way. Emma Frost X-Men would be cool. Some of the Immortal characters I really like, but, I mean, they're not the best. Rachel's great. The Old Man Logan. Could you say no to Old Man Logan? I don't know when or how Old Man Logan gets taken out of this meta. I really don't. Professor X is a mythical character, so not him. We'd have some Hellfire characters, but I wouldn't be super interested in them, honestly. They're a great team. We've seen their value now through the Blaster Invasion event, but I think I would put more benefit in the plug-and-play characters. Like Old Man Logan, Songbird is jumping out at me. Are the Accursed characters jumping out at me? Not really. The global tag is kind of tough. Global tag is kind of tough. So my head goes Old Man Logan, Omega Red, Phoenix Force, Songbird. I love those characters. I love the plug-and-play value I get from them. Omega Red's not even that bad in war. It can be pretty scary. A Jean Grey or a Rachel, potentially. Oh, or we just hope for some cool reworks. I mean, Yo-Yo is a great rework. You don't want her to get overpowered either. And she is plug-and-play for War, for Crucible. Probably going to be great in Sword Satellite Towers like that. So I'll probably go plug-and-play. Off the top of my head right now, I go Yo-Yo. I go Old Man Logan. I go Mega Red Phoenix Force. I go Songbird. And I think I go Storm. Not because Storm would be a good character in a game mode like this, but, well, maybe she would because she can get that big explosion off. You can prep her to take out one wave. But because if Storm gets annihilated in Crucible, you just lose the match. And with this sort of ISO 8 progression path opening up, I'm going to be facing off against people that are going to... They don't overpower me anymore, right? Because I have a Gear Tier 20 Immortal team. Overnight, if they start selling these, which I'm sure they're going to be selling these, right? And the leaderboards kind of go crazy. And people love Crucible, so love the Crucible characters. Maybe not overnight, but over the course of like 2 months into the ISO 8 life cycle, all of a sudden everybody I face is going to have that overpowered advantage on me again. And so I kind of want to protect the teams and the characters that I rely on the most for the big damage. And Storm might... Yeah, she might take the cake there. Also fast character, so she's great against people like Professor X teams and stuff like that. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Just wanted to share my thoughts with you. Actually, that's not going to be it for this video because we have some cool stuff happening in-game right now. We got probably the next reworks we're looking at. We got the Multiversal Blast. We have a Strange Heartless. Remember this guy from the Darkhold team? This guy was such a pain in the butt. Anytime you faced him on defense, it was just this doomsday clock as to when he was going to ult you. And if he can get energy and ult you fast, well, you had a bunch of buffs or debuffs, like count it both, right? It was just crazy. Some of the coolest animations we've seen in the game. Really fun character. Yeah, I really like Strange Heartless, so I'm glad that he's going to be back in. And, I mean, I just love Doctor Strange. And, yeah, Doctor Strange, OG, he's getting some play now. He's got that revive. You know, the Astral team, they're really good. But Strange Heartless is different. And his opening ability, that special, that Turbine Rewind, that's going to be awesome, too. So definitely excited to see him potentially getting a rework. And Elsa's like the opposite of Doctor Strange Heartless. So Doctor Strange Heartless, I look at more as like a defensive character. He's got that dangerous turn 1 turn meter rewind. And then if he reaches his second turn, he's just ulting you off the map. That might be a turn 3 ability, actually, come to think of it. Elsa Bloodstone, the opposite. Her turn 1, I think she gives herself offense up on her ultimate, and she just comes with her shotgun. She's like, boom! And she just blows away your primary target and adjacent enemies. And so I think of her more as an offensive character. So I don't know which direction they're going to be going with this team or what game mode it's going to be. Of course, the speculation is this is going to be some sort of Halloween team, being that, you know, we got demonic forces, we have the monster hunter. Halloween is coming up. Other speculation is going to be a Battle World team, because we know the new Battle World for Sentry is going to be popping up soon. That could be cool too. Maybe we'll see something like Astro where they kind of get those blank war traits as well as being a Battle World team. I feel like the last team we just got, I guess, is currently Insidious 6's Raid, Hellfire's Raid, Fantastic Four was Arena, Accursed was Crucible, so I guess a war team makes sense. Anyway, food for thought. I think these are 2W reworks. Even if you don't have them leveled up because this Darkhold team is super old, the Supernatural team is super old, I think these are W reworks. They're really, really fun characters. Do not build them right now. If you learned anything from the Secret Warriors, guys, learn not to build your characters until we see if tokens are going to come out. Because this is going to be a thing they do to help players keep up with reworks. Super cool, super awesome, and I can almost guarantee you they ain't never doing these refund things again because it was an unmitigated disaster. Anyway, guys, I'm pretty excited about Blue Marvel. Let me know what you think about this new mythical chase. I guess it's going to be a mythical chase. Does it even say if he's a mythical chase? He's got to be because he's the new progression path. Anyway, super excited about this character. I don't know enough about this character, but now I do know that his name was Adam Brashear, and he gets his power from antimatter. So I think we're going to see some really cool animations, like really cool animations. All right, guys, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful night. Part 2 of the Blastar Evasion event video is currently being edited right now. I have it on my other screen. Hopefully going to have that up for you in the morning tomorrow, if not by lunchtime. We got the dreaded nodes 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then later tomorrow, we're going to be having the free-to-play version of the run where I'm only going to be taking off the Health Pact and Vile Rally. And I think we're still going to be able to score really well and probably be able to get into that top 2,500 for the 5 red stars. So share all that knowledge with you guys. And that's going to be no awakened abilities, no nothing like that. All right, take care. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.